Now, punctuations are acceptable in write from dictation. Again, not all of them, but there are few that can be utilized. The very first, the most common one is full stops. Majority of your sentences are going to end on a full stop, so we absolutely have to make sure we put one. If you type your sentence correctly, but if you do not put a full stop towards the very end, you lose marks because of it, for sure. So full stop is compulsory. Doesn't matter what you end your sentence on. Even if you forget the last word, you only could remember today is a bright sunny day in, and you can't remember the last word, doesn't matter. You still need to put a full stop after the last word. It's important. In some sentences, you would be using a question mark. Okay. Majority sentences on a full stop, some of them with a question mark. And in that case, you wouldn't be putting a question mark. If they say, is it going to rain tomorrow in Adelaide? Like they would be asking you a question. They would not be speaking the word question mark, but the way they speak out a sentence would sound like a question to you. And in that case, you need to put a question mark at the back. Then we have is comma, which are another ones that are acceptable in write from dictation. Again, they're not going to speak out the word comma, but when they speak out a sentence, it would sound like that they have asked they have taken a pause in between a sentence. And in that case, we definitely want to put a comma in between a sentence. So today is a bright day in Adelaide, but it looks like it may rain tomorrow. So when they speak out a sentence, they will take a pause in between. Today is a bright day in Adelaide, but it looks like it may rain tomorrow. So over there, I would be putting a comma just in between the sentence to get a full score in my write from dictation. And then apart from commas, the only other one that can be utilized in write from dictation would be hyphens. Like I said earlier, when we discussed about numbers over here, sorry, these one numbers, 20-2. Hyphens are acceptable in write from dictation. So if you ever feel like there's a word where there is supposed to be a hyphen in between two words, and there are certain words, as we know, there are two separate words, but we still type them together as one word. And in those cases, we put a hyphen in between those two words. For example, well-being. It's never well space being, it's always well hyphen being. These kind of examples, we always have to put a hyphen in between. And hence hyphens are also acceptable form of punctuations. But apart from these four, none of the other ones would be acceptable. So please make sure do not use any others. Even if you want to, your sentences will never end on an exclamation mark. Not acceptable. If they say I have $22 in my pocket, you have to spell out the word dollars. You can't use the dollar symbol. Not acceptable. 22% of the students. You have to spell out the word percent. You can't use the percent symbol. That's also incorrect.